Ever wondered who would win in a mythical showdown between the cunning rat and the majestic dragon? Or if the swift monkey could truly outwit the steadfast ox? Today we're diving deep into the ancient lore of the Chinese Zodiac, pitting each animal against the others based on legendary powers and shocking weaknesses. And by the end, I promise this, your perception of these cute calendar animals is going to be completely rewritten, because the Zodiac isn't just a set of symbols, it's a lineup of combat archetypes. And when you treat them like fighters, when you strip away the bedtime story version and replace it with myth logic, something wild happens. The strongest doesn't always win. The winner is the one who understands the rules and exploits the flaw. So welcome to the Zodiac Gauntlet. 12 combatants, 1 arena, no real-world biology, only legend versus legend. Each animal gets 1 signature strength pulled from its mythic identity and 1 fatal weakness that can get it defeated. And we're not doing vague, maybe matchups. We're testing archetypes like a bracket in your head. The powerhouses, the underdogs, the counters, the traps. Let's set the rules clearly. First, this is not a tiger fights a rabbit in a zoo. This is myth combat where symbolism becomes ability. The dragon controls the sky because it's the storm. The rooster disrupts darkness because it's the dawn. The rat wins because it's the mind of the system. Second, no one gets plot armor if an animal has a weakness, it can be punished. Third, we're judging victory the way myths do, by dominance, by inevitability, by who forces the other to play a losing game. All right, if you're ready, the gauntlet begins. We start with the obvious threats, the powerhouses, the beasts people assume are unbeatable. The first is the dragon. In Zodiac lore, the dragon isn't a big lizard, it's an emperor of nature. Wind, rain, thunder, or a presence. In a myth arena, the dragon controls space itself. It doesn't need to chase you. It changes the battlefield until you have nowhere to hide. Most combatants lose to the dragon for one simple reason. You can't fight a storm the way you fight a creature. But the dragon is not invincible. The dragon's weakness is the exact thing that makes it a legend, its scale. It's massive, dominant, confident, and confidence is dangerous in a gauntlet where tiny opponents don't fight your strength, they fight your attention. If the dragon underestimates one opponent, if it treats them like they're beneath it, that's the crack in the armor. Next powerhouse, the tiger. The tiger is raw violence with a crown on its head. In myth terms, the tiger is authority and terror. It doesn't just attack your body, it attacks your instincts. It makes you flinch, it makes you panic. In a duel, that matters, because a fighter who hesitates is already half defeated. The tiger's combat style is pressure. It overwhelms, it forces mistakes. But the tiger has a blind spot too. It's impulsive, it's a lone predator. It wants the quick kill. In a gauntlet, impatience is a curse, because the moment the tiger commits too hard, it can be baited, it can be redirected, it can be exhausted. And that leads us to the third powerhouse, the horse. People underestimate the horse because it's not magical. But in myth logic, the horse is war mobility. It is momentum. It is unstoppable charge. The horse doesn't win by finesse, it wins by turning the arena into a straight line, then running you over with speed and endurance. But that's also the horse's weakness. The horse struggles in tight spaces. The horse hates traps. The horse is bad at subtlety. It needs room. If you force it into a maze, a corner, or a battlefield full of obstacles, its greatest advantage becomes useless. Now those are the giants, but here's the reason this video is interesting. The Zodiac isn't ruled by giants, it's ruled by underdogs with secret weapons. Let's start with the rat. The rat looks weak until you understand what it actually represents. The rat is not muscle, it's strategy, it's social intelligence. It's the creature that survives every system by learning how the system works. In the famous race story, the rat doesn't run faster than the ox. It rides the ox, then it wins at the last second. That isn't cute, that's a combat philosophy. Never fight fair, never fight head-on, win by timing. The rat's signature power is manipulation of positioning, baiting bigger enemies into overcommitting, then punishing. The recovery, its weakness is that it can't survive a clean hit. If it gets spinned, it's done. So the rat must always stay in control of the flow. Next underdog, the rabbit. The rabbit is the master of escape. In many traditions, it carries an aura of moonlight, medicine, and unnatural agility. In a myth arena, the rabbit's power is evasion, so clean it becomes offense. It doesn't just dodge, it makes you waste energy, waste focus, waste time. Until you defeat yourself. The rabbit's weakness is obvious. Fragility, one mistake ends it. So the rabbit is a perfect counter to aggressive fighters. It turns pressure into exhaustion. And then there's the goat. The goat feels harmless, but in myth archetypes, the goat is resilience. It's stubbornness. It's the fighter that refuses to break. In a gauntlet, that's terrifying, because the goat doesn't need to be flashy. It needs to outlast you. If we allow collective strength in a symbolic sense, the goat also represents community and teamwork, the kind of strength that comes from not fighting alone. That's why it can survive against stronger opponents. It doesn't rely on one moment. It relies on endurance, the goat's weakness. Reach and speed. It can't chase down a slippery opponent. It wins when the fight becomes close, slow, and grinding. Now that you know the powerhouses and the underdogs, we're ready for the strategic showdowns. First, ox versus monkey. This is one of the best matchups in the entire Zodiac because it's a clash of two worlds. The ox is unwavering force. It is steady power. It is the fighter that doesn't get tired. It doesn't get distracted. If the ox grabs you, corners you, or hits you clean, the match is over. The monkey is the opposite. The monkey is unpredictability. It's creativity, improvisation, psychological warfare. The monkey doesn't want to win by power, it wants to win by humiliating you into mistakes. So who wins? It depends on one question: can the monkey keep the fight chaotic without getting caught? Because the monkey's weakness is arrogance. The monkey plays too long. It takes risks to show off. In the gauntlet, the monkey dances around the ox, taunting, throwing feints, striking and retreating, forcing the ox to turn and turn and turn. The ox hates this. The ox is built for straight lines. But here's what the monkey forgets. The ox doesn't need 10 hits. It needs one. And the moment the monkey gets greedy, one extra strike, one extra stunt, the ox anticipates it, plants its weight, and catches the monkey mid-move. Winner, ox, not because the monkey isn't smart, but because in myth combat, chaos loses the moment it becomes predictable, and the monkey always becomes predictable when it shows off. Next, snake versus pig. This matchup is pure contrast. Assassin versus tank. The snake's power is stealth, patience, and precision. It waits. It strikes where you're weakest. In myth logic, the snake wins by making you feel safe, then punishing you for believing it. The pig, on the other hand, is not a joke. The pig is durability and survival. The pig can take punishment that would break others. The pig's secret power is that it doesn't panic. It doesn't overreact. It absorbs. Then counters with raw weight. Snake's weakness is that it needs the first hit to matter. If it bites and fails to end the fight, it has nothing left. Pig's weakness is speed. If it can't catch you, it can't win. So the snake tries to win instantly: ambush, venom, precision. But the pig survives the first strike, not because it's immune, but because its whole archetype is endurance. It doesn't collapse fast. It forces the snake into a longer fight, and a longer fight is exactly what the snake cannot afford. Winner, pig, because durability is. A counter to assassination: if you can live through the first strike, the assassin becomes fragile. Now, dog versus rooster. People laugh at this one until they realize how symbolic these two are. The dog represents loyalty, protection, relentless pursuit. The dog's combat style is lock on and never stop. It doesn't fight for ego. It fights like a guardian. The rooster represents pride, display, and something mythically powerful. Dawn. The rooster's crow drives away darkness. In a myth arena, that means disruption. It exposes stealth. It breaks ambushes. It forces fights into the open. Dog's weakness is tunnel vision. It can get baited. Rooster's weakness is that it's not built to win a long brawl. So the rooster starts strong noise, disruption, confidence. It tries to control the tempo to make the dog hesitate. But the dog doesn't hesitate. The dog closes distance. It forces contact. It refuses to be intimidated. Winner, dog. Because guardians win when the fight becomes real. The rooster shines in spectacle. The dog shines in commitment. Now we've seen enough to name the final contenders. The powerhouses: dragon, tiger, horse. The survivors and grinders: ox, pig, dog, goat. The tricksters: rat, monkey, snake, rabbit, rooster. But a champion isn't just strong. A champion is the animal that survives the most matchups. So here's our top tier based on who has the best. Blend of power, counters, and consistency. Dragon, ox, pig, and the wild card, rat. Now it's time for the final question. Does the dragon deserve number one? The dragon's biggest advantage is simple. It doesn't fight on your level. It controls the arena. Most animals can't even reach it without losing half the battle. That alone makes it the most dominant archetype. But the dragon's weakness is arrogance. If the dragon ever comes down to finish the fight, it enters the danger zone where tanks and grinders live. That's where the pig becomes terrifying, because the pig doesn't need to hit the dragon in the sky. The pig needs to survive until the dragon commits. That's the same rule that makes giants lose in myths across the world. Gods fall when they stop being cosmic and start being personal. So here's the verdict. The dragon is the #1 powerhouse, but the most dangerous archetype, the one most likely to upset the system, is the pig, because the pig counters assassination, outlasts pressure, and punishes arrogance. And the most terrifying part? The rat doesn't need to be the strongest to win the gauntlet. The rat can win if the arena becomes political, if alliances matter, if timing matters, if someone else does the fighting. And the rat steals the crown at the end. So if you came into this video thinking the Zodiac is just a cute calendar, here's what you now know. It's a myth combat lineup of human survival strategies. The dragon is dominance, the ox is inevitability, the tiger is fear, the rabbit is escape, the snake is assassination, the dog is protection, the pig is survival, and the rat is the system. Now I want your verdict. Which zodiac animal do you think is the true champion if this was a real myth arena? And which matchup do you want in part 2? Rat versus dragon? Ox versus tiger? Pig versus snake rematch? Drop it in the comments, tell me your zodiac sign, and tell me who you think wins. Because in myth combat, the strongest isn't always the champion. The champion is the one that forces everyone else to play a losing game.